Okay, so we're going to learn how to draw the White House, and I'm going to be using the tutorial that I sent home for you in the PDF. So if you have that printed out, that will really help you. And on it you can count up the number of squares that you're going to need. You also have a piece of grid paper like this. So the first thing you're going to do is go up one from the bottom, one cube up from the bottom. You're going to draw a straight line all the way across like I did. Now my line's not completely straight, but that's okay, because when we draw, we're not necessarily looking for something perfect. We're looking for something that is going to resemble the finished product, and we're going to do our best. So if you don't get an exactly straight line, it's okay. So first we drew the ground line, and next we're going to draw the rectangle that will be the base for our White House. Now if you look at the White House drawing I sent, you can see that we need to count up 4 cubes. 1, 2, 3, 4 to get the top height of our base rectangle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 across, and 1, 2, 3, 4 back down to get our rectangle. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So I will count up 1, 2, 3, 4 on this side, then come over to this side and count up 1, 2, 3, 4 on that side. Now I'm going to join them by drawing a line across. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yep, it's just as we counted. So now we've got the rectangle that will be the base for the White House. Next I'm going to add the triangle roof. To find the triangle roof, I'm going to count over 3 from the left. 1, 2, 3. Make a little line down there, and then go back over to the right. 1, 2, 3. Make a little line down there. And that shows me where I'm going to be drawing my triangle. Then I'm going to count up 2 from the middle. 1, 2, the top there. And I'm going to be drawing a line that comes straight down here and straight down there to make a triangle. In order to do this, it will be really helpful if you have a ruler. If not, you can use the edge of your paper. You can take your paper and line it up against the 2 dots, just like this, and then you can draw your line. I'm doing it with this paper because I want you to realize that you do not have to have a ruler. You can use what you have, the resources that you have, to make it work. Alright, so we've got one side of our triangle roof. Now I'm going to line up my ruler against these 2 points. See, I've got my top point here and my bottom point here. I'll be connecting those to make the top of my triangle roof, which is great. And then the next thing I'm going to do is draw a little rectangle underneath. It's just a tiny little rectangle. It's a small fraction of the square. Then I'll extend my triangle roof out to meet it. Okay, so I've got the top of the triangle roof and the panel below. Now I'm going to be adding the top panel. If you look, the top panel is this line that runs across to the outside of the rectangle we did and then makes a sharp line and comes back in. This is going to be, look, it's not half as wide as the square, but it's really close. It's more than a third. So I'm going to be finding that line. Okay, this would be half, would be about here. So it's going to be a little less than half, like right there. Draw my line this way. Drawing Okay, let me go to the other side. Find a little less than half. I used 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Find the same spot. And then go across, out, and down. Okay, so now I've got my top panel here. I'm going to go in next step and draw the 4 columns. So let's look back at our model. We've got 4 columns here. They're coming down from this triangle that we just drew. 1 column, 2 columns, 3 columns, 4 columns. And you'll notice they're just straight lines with a little half circle at the top for decoration. I also want you to notice here, going back, that they start, the left side of the column lines up with a dashed line, and then the other side of the column is about the size of my little finger in between. So you can use your fingers to measure. Okay, it's going to be about 1 finger here from the left side to the right side. I would use your pointer finger to measure that. So I know my first column is going to come down this dashed line. I'm going to draw it all the way down as carefully as I can. All right, and then I'm going to use my finger to make a mark for the column. There we go. And I'm going to go up, 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 up. Something you'll notice that I'm doing is I'm going up 1 cube at a time. I'm not doing really long stretches at a time. That's because if you 1 cube at a time, your chances are you're going to get a straight line. Now that I'm at the top, I can make the little half circle mark. Circle, half circle. There you go, my decorations. Now it's time for me to start my next column. I'm going to go over to the next dashed line, and I'm going to draw down that line again. That will be my second column. If you look at a real picture of the White House, you'll notice these columns huge. And if you go online, you can find tours of the White House where you can watch videos of going in, what's it like to live in the White House and be the president. The cool thing is that the White House has been around for a really, really long time. It's a historic home that presidents have lived in for a very long time. The first president did not live there, but shortly after that, presidents began living in the White House. We're going to go ahead and draw our curve. Now I'm going to use my finger to measure a little bit. I want my columns to be about the same size, if I can, but I also know that I'm not perfect at drawing and that I'm going to be okay with my finished product no matter how it looks. Okay, I'm pretty happy with that. I've got columns here. Now I'm going to go over and look and see where do I need to put the other columns. Well, I'm going to start from the right side this time because I know this right line is going to line up with the bottom of that rectangle that I drew. All right, so right here, go down. If you're watching this video to learn how to draw it, I highly recommend pausing it or doing it along with me. If I'm going too fast, you can watch me do it and then push pause and then do it yourself. So I'm going to measure about a finger. Looks about the same. Go up. Lots and lots of straight lines in this piece. Very few curved lines. There we go. Now, like, this one's a little skinnier than this one, but that's okay. I'm going to go ahead and draw my half circles up top to make my column decorations. Then I'm going to go over to the next dashed line, go down. Here we go. There we go. There we go. Okay, and over a little bit. Just eyeballed it that time. Again, if you have a ruler, you can use it. If you don't have a ruler, you can use your extra piece of paper, or you can just do like I'm doing and eyeball it. So you have a choice there. Go up and draw my half circles. You can also use a pencil if you'd like. And then if you don't like how your line turned out, you can always go back and erase it. And then when you're all done, trace it over with a black pen. So I've drawn my 4 columns. The next thing I'm going to be doing is drawing the windows. Now, there are so many windows on this, but I'm going to start with the top windows. Look, the top windows are all in a straight line. From the bottom of my rectangle, they're 1, 2. It's I'm going to count up 1, 2 cubes, and in the third cube is where the windows are going to go. The bottom of the windows is lined up with the bottom line of this cube, and the top windows are lined up with the top line of this cube. They're basically exactly centered in the cube. And my dividing line is going to be halfway in between this dashed line and this line. So if I just take a second and figure out where they need to go, I'm going to be happier with my end result. I'm going to be working from left to my first column, then I'm going to work from right to my first column, then I'll do my 2 windows that go in the columns, and last I'll do my center windows. Okay, so let's see how it goes. So I've got to count up 1, 2, 3. I know my bottom window will be here. I know it's going to be roughly in the middle, so I'm going to draw a line down the middle. Then I'm going to draw like I make in the letter I, the bottom and the top. See this? Drew a line down the middle, drew the letter I. Now I can connect the 2 sides. Okay, I've drawn the outside window frame. Now I got to go back and count how many windows do I need to fit in there. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4. It's kind of like a fraction. So I'm going to go ahead and divide this in half. There we go. There we go. There we go. Okay, it could be a little straighter, but I'm happy with how it looks. So I'm going to go on to the next window. I'm going to find the middle, draw a line down. Then I'll make my eye, top eye. Okay, draw my lines down to connect the sides. Again, this may be a really long line for you to draw. If it is, you can get a ruler out to help. Then I'm going to go to the middle, divide it in half, and then divide that in half. Got my top windows. Then I'll divide the next one in half. Okay, if you want to, instead of eyeballing it, if you want to do this precisely, you can count the little dashes here and find the middle. So let's go ahead and count them. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12. So 6 dashes would be exactly the middle if I was trying to find the middle. And look how close I am to 6. So sometimes eyeballing works great, but if you want to count each dash, you could do that. So I'm going to go down here, draw my center line again, go over and make what looks like a T. Now I'm going to change it into an I, draw my lines, side, the next side, half, half again, half again. All right, it's starting to look kind of like a building. I got 3 windows. Now I'm going to go over to the right side. So from the right side, I'll find the middle again. Line this way, this way, this way, this way, half. Okay, the next window. Okay, now that I've done the outside windows, I know I've got 2 windows to squeeze in these columns. I've also got a center window. As I said before, I'm going to save the center window for last. I'm going to be working with these 2 windows. I'm basically going to do the same thing I did last time, except that I'm going to be trying to find the middle between this line and this line. So I'm going to find the middle, draw a line down, make my T, make my I, trying not to get the window too close to those columns. Draw a line down, another line down, there we go. The middle, divide it up, divide it up. All right, that window's a little wobbly. Let's see if we can do better on the left side. So we're going to divide down the middle. Okay, make our T, make our I, go down the side, and go down the side. Now, one of the things I want you to realize when you're doing this project, you're doing a ton of straight lines, you're using grids to help you place things, but really you're not thinking about what is the whole finished product going to look like. You're thinking about individual parts, little sections at a time. In all of our drawing lessons, we've been talking about that. It's hard if you just look at a big picture and then think, gosh, how am I going to draw that? Some of you might have started with the flag. Some of you might have started with these. And instead, we built the frame, and now we're sort of slowly adding the details, thinking about it systematically, step by step by step. Whenever you draw anything, that's what you have to do. You've got to get the whole picture in your mind and then slowly break it down into its steps so that you can get the picture to turn out like you want. But if you don't divide it into little parts to draw it, you're not going to be happy with your finished result. Okay, now to draw the middle window. I'm going to use the dashed line that's already here to frame my window. So I'll draw from the top of that square right here to the bottom of it and then connect those two dots. Okay, that's the middle of my window. So now I'll make the T. Then I'll make the I. Now I'll be connecting these to make a right rectangle. And then a left rectangle. Now I'm going to divide them into little boxes so they look like windows. Who knew rectangles and squares? Okay, so now we've got the top windows. Next thing we've got to do is add the bottom rows of windows. Now I want you to notice the bottom rows of windows are different. If you look at this page, you can see that the middle of the bottom row of windows is resting on the dotted line. That's the middle line, not the bottom line. So when we draw the windows, we're going to be drawing our middle line first and then working on top of the dotted line and then below the dotted line to get them the way we want them. So once again, we'll start on the left side. This first line I drew, that's going to be the middle of my windows. So then I will go up, up, and over to make my top square. Down, down, over to make my bottom square. Then I will be dividing those. There we go, to make my first set of bottom windows. Now you're going to notice that the bottom windows have a triangle on them, and it's a pretty decent sized triangle. To make that triangle, I'm going to go up and put the point where I want the top of my triangle to go. Then I will draw out one side, out the other side, and in. You see that? Okay, let's try to make the next one. So I've got my middle line, 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm gonna go up, make a square, then I'm gonna make the same square below, and I'm going to divide it, just like that. Then I will divide that window again into fourths, and now I've got 8 little windows. Then I'll go up, make the point for my triangle. Now notice my triangle goes out a little bit beyond the side of my rectangle, and that's because I want to then draw a line to tuck it back in like that. If you don't want your windows to look like that, that's how they're done in the instructions. So now we got 2 windows. I'm going to go on and finish the rest of my windows. This project takes a lot of concentration, so if you need to take breaks, you can, especially if you find yourself getting frustrated. Like, some of you might not be happy that this column is wiggling out to meet this window. That might make you really frustrated. If it is, go take a break, take some deep breaths, and come back. It's going to be fine. I'm not worried about it. But if you are worried about it, then please take a break. All right, all those windows are done. Now I'm going to go to the door. Let's look at the door. If you look at the door, you'll notice the top of the door is at the top of that bottom line, and the door is exactly centered down that middle dashed line. That helps me because I can think about symmetry here and how the left side is identical to the right side. So I've got a large rectangle for the door, and then a smaller rectangle for the window, and then a half circle for the top of the door. Okay, so I'm going to start with the bottom large rectangle. Let's see what I get. So I'm going to start by finding the middle of my door. That will be the middle right here. My door is going to go out equally to the left and equally to the right there. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I will go straight as I can down. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep, straight as I can. Then I'm going to be drawing my inside rectangle. I'm going to count down 2 little dashes, 1, 2, to get it started. And it's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, down 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, to about there. Draw this inside rectangle. That's my door. There we go. Then I'm going to work on the half circle. Go up a little bit for the half circle. 1, 2 dashes. Half circle is going to be as wide as the bottom door, going out to 4. So that's the bottom of my half circle. Then I'm going to have to draw a curved line up. And I'm going up 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, up to there. It's always nice to draw the point that you want to meet, so that you can try to get a nice curve. So I'm going to curve down. There we go. So I've got the bottom row of windows. The next thing I'll be drawing is the triangle inset and tube. So the triangle inset would be this triangle and then these tubes up here. Okay, so to get the triangle inset, I'm just going to look, and I'm going to basically be making a smaller triangle inside the large triangle that I've already made. Done 2, go to there, so drawing, connect, and then down, rotate my paper here so I can get a straighter line. There we go, got my inner triangle. Okay, and then I'm going to be drawing the tubes. To draw the tubes, I'm going to count over and see where are they. Now from the outside edge, I'm going to go in 1 square, and that tube is centered on that dashed line. Then the second square is where the other tube is centered. I've got a square shape and a rectangle shape. So I'm going to start by making my square shape, then I'll make my rectangle shape for the top. So once again, I'm going to be counting in 1. Here we go. I'm going to be making a square shape on either side. I'm going to count out 2 or 3. 1, 2, 3. Up. 1, 2, 3. Go up and make my square. Now my rectangle is going to go on top of that, but count it out 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. There's my first tube. Now I'm going to go over to my next tube and count out 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Draw my lines underneath to connect. So I should have straight lines going across. And then I've got to go out 3, 3 to make my bottom square. There you go. Now I've got the 2 tubes for the left side. So I'm going to go over and do the same thing on the right. Count over 1. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Draw a rectangle here. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Now I'm going to go into the next dashed and repeat what I just did. Rectangle. Oops, make a little rectangle. Now I'm going to go down and make my squares. And squares. Alrighty. So I've got my, basically I'm almost done here. I've got a few little decorations. I got a flag to add and some stripes. So for my stripes, you'll notice that the stripes are directly in the middle of each cube. I've got a set of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stripes here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stripes here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stripes. Or I can think about it as having 3 squares divided into fifths. So I've got 1, 2, 3. I'm going to start with this one, which is in between my 2 tubes up top. So I'm going to start by making a square. That will be my first square. My next square is going to come there. My final square will be just on the outside of this tube, but before the edge. So I've got 3 squares. I got to divide those squares into fifths. Or I need 5 lines here. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines. 2, 4, 5 lines. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines there. Now I'm going to go over and do the same thing, starting with the middle square. Got a middle square here. Got another square here. And another square here. I need 5 lines. I'm going to give it that middle line. That's 3, 4, 5 lines. 3, 4, 5 lines. 3, 4, 5 lines. Okay, so I'm basically done. You can choose to add the flag or not. It's totally up to you. To add the flag, you're going to look and see that the flag is the only place where we have curved lines. That's because the flag is waving in the breeze. We have a rectangle that goes up on either side of the dotted line. It's about as tall as 1 cube, and then the whole flag fits inside another cube. So that's just a little piece to go up top. Now when you finish your drawing, you can color it in. I recommend getting marker or crayons to color in all the background behind these lights. You can color the light insides of the lights yellow, like the lights are on. You can color them gray. You can color them blue. You color them whatever color you want. It is the White House, so the background of this should be white. A white crayon will work great for that. Then down here, you could color it green for grass. This whole back could be blue or blue and white for clouds. It's entirely up to you. Hope you have fun drawing this project, and I hope that you're happy with the work that you did.